embrace the magical side of life, where anything is possible and the infinite is accessible to all? Let's have a conscious conversation about what's going on in the world, in your life, and your relationship from the expanded perspective of your soul. The path to awareness begins and ends in the heart. So let's take it there, one step at a time, and learn to cultivate magic in your life every single day. In each episode, we share a collective space in which we discover the unique facets of our own magic and embody our superhuman qualities by humbly exploring how it's super simply to be human. Hosts Catia and Dell co-create a magical experience to remind you that you are magical as fuck. Now, be unleashed. This is our daily magic.
Good to go, right? Okay. Hello, everyone. The magical thing about doing lives is when the technical difficulties happen in moments that are out of our control. But those things out of our control is when we're actually allowed to accept it and be with it. That's where the real magic begins. So, with that being said, welcome to another episode of our Daily Magic Podcast. I am Dell, and today is going to be a very, very interesting conversation. And hey there, Jess, welcome. And everyone else who's here, let us know that you're here to share your magic with us. And we're going to have a co-created space together. And you're going to get to see what happens when magic is displayed in the infinite ways that could be displayed. So we have a magical being today who's going to share her magical story. And what I invite you to do in this conversation is to listen to this as if this can help you to incorporate more magic in your life and as a possibility for yourself. And if you do that, I'm sure there's going to be something from this conversation that you can take to integrate in your life. And keep the comments going, keep the questions going. This is a engaged, co-created space with all of us together. And this space wouldn't be the same without the engagement of each and every one of us. So, like I said, I'm Dell, and my other co-host is...
My name is Catia, and I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing Catia. At the age of 19, Catia started seeking the answers to her present difficulties, anguish, fears, and insecurities in relation to the world, but she was able to find the answers outside of herself. It all changed one night when she asked the same questions, not outwards, but directed the questions to herself, looking for a place inside her where there was a drawer she could open and discover and remember a piece of her history frozen in time. Little by little, she started to remember her dreams more vividly and have flashes of answers to her questions. Gradually, she began to feel that her inner universe was more interconnected with the outer universe. More and more, she saw the synchronicity between the two of them. She experienced the laws described by the Kybalion book. Everything experientially and not just a mental process. To complement the journey, she got runic stones from a friend. She felt into the runic writings the tools of conscious connection between the micro and the macro as a dynamic, self-evolving, self-conscious, and self-transcendent form of the processes. The runes of this work are unique, evolved, and are in harmony and conformity with the laws that govern the universe inside and outside us. So today, Catia is here with us to share more about her experience. And I am very, very intrigued to know more. You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. To know more about what happened at 19 years of age. Like, what made this such a big moment?
Okay, I will say for her, I'll translate for her, and I'll tell the story. First of all, she's my mother. She was born in 1957, and she's 65 years old now. And it all began in 1976 when she used to live in Brasilia, the capital of the country here, Brazil. But they had a vacations house in Piuma, in the state of Espírito Santo, on the coast. It's a small fishing island surrounded by river and ocean. So she went there for vacations when she was 19 years old. And it was a very small city with almost nothing, just a beautiful nature. And they went all day long on the beach, on the ocean. And one evening, she was preparing to go to take a shower for them to hang out at night in another place. But she felt a desire to go to the beach. And she went barefoot, just in bikinis yet. And she take a earth ground path to the beach, to the ocean, and she stood in front of the ocean and starts looking to the sky. And she think to herself, oh, why am I here? I maybe to see the sunset, I don't know, but there was no stars on the sky. It was like twilight. But then she saw a very bright star, and she was observing the star. When the star get brighter and brighter, bigger and bigger, and closer to her. And at this moment, she felt an energy field surround her, enter from her left and closing on the right. And at this moment, she didn't feel any fear or nothing. She was just in the moment observing all that was happening. And at this moment, she felt like a lot of information on her brain, but very fast, like if something was cleaning or opening her internal records, something like that. Nowadays she knows, she understood what happened, but at the time she didn't know what was that. And she didn't know how long it took, but when it finished, the energy field came out of her from the right to the left on the opposite direction. And then that very, very bright light that didn't hurt her sight. She could stare to the very bright light. It turned around, and then she realized that it was a starship, because when it turned around, she saw it, a very big and round ship, like something like silver, but or white, and then it went over very fast to her left in a zigzag movement.
Yes.
And then in the right side of the sky, she saw a huge red cross that then disappeared as well. So she felt enormous feeling to cry. She started crying a lot. And she sat down on the beach and cried,
Vontade de ir embora.
with the feeling and the wanting to have gone with them, like missing something. Then she saw some fishermen coming out of the ocean and yelled to them, "Oh, did you see? Did you see?" But got no response. So she went back home. And that was the event that changed her life. Because before that, she used to drink, smoke, doesn't have any purpose on life. She was 19 years old. But the day before, she never drink anymore. She stopped eating meat. She stopped smoking. And she, for almost 1 week, she saw everything different, every color brighter and vivid, like she was in a state of great well-being for like a week, like if she was reeling or reborn again. That was the experience. And then after that experience, when she went back to Brasilia, she started to seek for religions, for answers, and she joined yoga groups like ashrams groups, one for 7 years, another one for another 7 years, and doing a lot of meditation and readings and teachings. But then she realized that the answers were not outside. So she left all these groups, all these yoga lines and masters and gurus that she was used to follow, and went by herself, alone, just meditating, with meditation. And then she began to develop a method, and her dream, when her dreams become more vivid and the answers become to flourish in the on the dreams and also when she was awake. But it was just the start of the process, because in 1999, when we came back to live in Piuma, that when it all came to the surface at once. It was like a mind-blowing flow of information and remembering. She was remembering past lives, ancient civilizations, and drawing all day long a lot of symbols. And it all that developed into a method, a self-help method for you to achieve to clean your DNA and to get your answers from your own self, without masters, without gurus, without nothing. And this, with the help of the symbols, the runic symbols that she saw coming out of the ocean, she drew, but they changed, and they are completely different from the first ones, that was the Futhark runic alphabet. And she started helping first herself, then other people that came to her. But when she had to help these people, she had to tell all the methods for them. So she realized, I will write it down so they can read. I will don't have to repeat it all again, and it transformed into a book.
Para ninguém depender de mim também.
For no one to, she's saying, for no one to depend of me. Each one can travel your own path, and your soul is your guide. And this work is for you to reconnect with your soul. And basically, that's it, all the story.
Agora, fala para eles que no encontro não me foi passado nada. Que foi aberto meus registros.
She's saying that on the encounter, nothing was passed to her, but her internal records was opened. So everyone can do the same thing. Open and read your own story.
Sim. Esses símbolos são para isso, para abrir os registros.
These symbols are for that, to open your internal records. For you to go
Conexão com sua alma.
to reconnect with your soul, with your higher selves.
Para sair da Matrix.
And leave the matrix, because your soul, your higher selves, they know the answers, they know all things of you. They are your guide. No one can be your guide. You can't give power to others to guide you. You have to be your guide. Your soul have to be your guide.
Disciplina.
And it requires discipline with everything in life. Yes.
And when you talk about discipline, what exactly do you mean? Is it a discipline in self-inquiry? Is it a physical discipline?
Disciplina no método. Disciplina na vida, disciplina no método.
Discipline in your life, discipline when working on this method. It's in everything. Everything is interconnected.
Tudo é vibração no universo, né?
Everything in the universe is vibrations.
O local onde você vive, as pessoas que você
The place
convive,
you
o que
live,
você come.
What you eat, the people you are surrounded by, everything counts.
Tudo soma, tudo conta, né?
And in all aspects of your life, you have to be disciplined for you to achieve your goals. Because
para escutar os comandos da alma.
And to listen to your guide, your soul. You have to be you can't be dirty, for example. You have to be clean and disciplined to get the messages. Otherwise, you will be disconnected from your
Porque
source.
É algo contínuo, é algo assim, tem um método lá, você questiona as coisas, explica mais ou menos como é o método, é questionar as dificuldades do presente, você questiona, pega a causa, traz para o presente, quando você entende o método, você tem que ter disciplina nesse processo.
The method is for you to question your present difficulties and through the symbols, through your dreams, to work on the cause of these things for your destiny to change. But all of that requires method and discipline and hard work and practicing.
Sim, porque quando você traz o que está lá no passado para o presente, você pode transformar o seu destino e mudar de campo de vibração. Então, tudo isso tem que ter uma disciplina.
When you bring back from your past, even past lives, the root cause of the things that are happening to you now, and work on them and transmute them, you change your frequency, you change your destiny.
Cada vez mais acoplando com o eu atemporal.
And every time you are more reconnected with your timeless self, and then you change your destiny.
É como uma academia, fala com eles.
But it's like everything in life requires practice and discipline.
Como uma academia.
And does the website and the book include ways to dive into these disciplines and to integrate them into one's life? Or is this a self-driven kind of exploration, and maybe the book or the website kind of gives a foundation? How much can we expect to learn or be guided by Catia, and how much of it is actually self?
Okay, the name of the book is Runes, the Cryptology of the Soul. And it's available on the website fellowshipoftherunes.com. The book, it's all about the method. The book, it doesn't tell her story, the encounter, nothing. Just the book is like the laws that govern the universe by the Kybalion and some things that she added by herself. And then the symbols, the runic symbols, and the method. The method
passo a passo.
For each one to do for your own self. The path is something you do alone. And then there's a self-help method there. They like how to do everything explained, how to do. You have to do a programming for yourself. Like, I want to know why is this happen. Write it all down. Read. Do your self-initiation with the runic symbols. Then write down your dreams, because the answers came through dreams or insights when you are awake. And because everything is inside of us, our answers is inside of us. We have all the answers and the cure and everything to heal ourselves.
Está tudo guardado em memórias, né? Em níveis diferentes de memórias de vibração dentro da gente.
Is everything stored in different levels of vibration and memories inside of us?
Gavetinhas.
Drawers, a lot of drawers that you can open and access.
E traz tudo, tem que trazer para cá.
Have to bring it all back to you. To live in the present, in the moment.
Porque aqui é uma cadeia de causa e efeito, causa e efeito, causa e efeito. Se você não trabalha a causa, você está vivendo o efeito. Entendeu?
Because if you don't work on the cause, you are just living on the effect of things.
I like that. And perfect way of explaining it, of looking at things from a surface level and never going to the root cause of it. And I love how you explain in this work of going to the root of things. And the analogy that I was getting is sort of like a weed that's growing, and you just keep chopping the top part of the weed off, and the weed keeps growing because there's a root that continues to sprout it up. And I'm curious now, because you mentioned how Cátia mentioned in the book there's universal laws and also laws of Kybalion. So asking for myself, but also asking for those audience members who may not know or may be curious of this, like universal laws and the laws of Kybalion. I would love to hear Cátia's interpretation and also her flavor as well, because you said there's some stuff in there from her own experience too. So I would love to hear it for myself, but then also for our audience to be able to hear it as well.
Ele quer que você fale sobre as leis do Kybalion e sobre o que você adicionou também. Queria falar um pouco sobre isso, as leis.
Causa e efeito. Sim, pode começar falando das leis de causa e efeito. Tudo no universo é causa e efeito.
First
né?
of all, that's the cause and effect law. Everything in the universe has cause and effect.
E a sua memória atemporal não está pegando, quer dizer, a sua memória atemporal, ela tem acesso a todos os seus pontos causais, a tudo que te aconteceu aqui. Mas essa memória daqui não tem esse acesso.
Your timeless self has access to all your memories from all times. It is not limited by space and time. But our mind here has only our memories from this time.
Certo? Então, para você tem que manipular, você tem que entender essa causalidade, você tem que, como é que eu coloco? Você tem que aprender a trabalhar com essa lei de causa e efeito.
So you have to understand how to work with this cause and effect law.
Então, esses símbolos vão ajudar você a fazer a conexão da causa e trazer todas as suas causas, coisas que você não lembra, para cá, para esse tempo daqui.
So these symbols will help you to bring all these causes for the present moment, for you to remember.
Sim. Lembrando, você abre a gaveta e trabalha.
When you remember, you open the drawer
2 tempos.
and work on it.
2 tempos. Vai estar aqui. Esse tempo daqui e o tempo do atemporal aberto.
So the 2 timelines will be open at the same time.
Aí, quando você trabalha o trauma e limpa tudo, essa energia retorna para você.
When you work on the cause of the trauma or the conflict and clean it, this energy came back to you cleaner.
Aí, esse nível de vibração, o universo é vibração, você dá um plug, você dá um salto quântico.
So you rise your frequency.
Quando você trabalha, quando esses 2 tempos são trabalhados, essa energia se transforma em uma outra superior. É um buraco de minhoca.
Já falei isso, pode.
Ah, é? Então, aí você sai do pêndulo.
So you leave the pendulum of the karma wheel. You rise your frequency.
E sobe um degrau a mais na vibração.
And you level up another.
Dá um pulo, um salto quântico, né?
Like a quantum leap, you change your vibration range. You step up one level. So all this chain of cause and effect of that old pattern cease to exist, and you change your destiny.
Quando você está nesses 2 tempos, você atinge o ponto de causalidade.
So you reach the causality point.
E aí você sai do ritmo, que é causa e efeito. Causa e efeito, atinge o ponto 0 de causalidade e dá um salto quântico.
You reach the 0 point of causality and you do a quantum leap and you raise your frequency. Agora fala mais das outras leis.
A vibração, aí isso tudo está dentro também do princípio de vibração. Todas as leis estão interligadas.
All laws are intertwined. For example, one of the laws is the vibration law. Everything in the universe is vibration.
Isso.
Fala mais das outras.
A lei do retorno. E eu vi que existe a lei do retorno, porque tudo isso é para você voltar à sua essência.
And that's her soul, another law, the law of the return. Because everything of that is for you to return to your source.
Para você voltar ao que você é. E todos esses tempos se tornarem um só em você.
And all these timelines came together and for you to be on the now, living not the effect of cause of things that happen even in other lives, but to live on the now.
O que mais que ele quer saber?
As leis do Kybalion.
Qual é a outra lei? Qual é a outra lei que ele quer que eu explique?
Não, qualquer um.
Eu falei do Kybalion, lei do ritmo, causa e efeito. O que mais? Do gênero, que tudo é gênero, né? Criação.
Não, vou deixar por isso mesmo. It's basically that. But there are a lot of more things.
Thank you. And now I have another curious question. Thank you for explaining that beautifully as well. It definitely helped to expand me. That's why I have this question I want to ask now, because I'm like really expanded by this divine truth that Cátia is sharing. So in regards to like a current life trauma, let's say a current life trauma that someone actually did some healing work with to transmute it to that place of unconditional love. If somebody does that for a current lifetime trauma, does it have any effect on previous lives? Because I'm thinking about the cause and effect. So what if a cause from a previous life brought a trauma on in a current life, and you did some healing work for the current life trauma? Does it simultaneously help to heal the trauma from a previous lifetime? I just want to hear Cátia's thoughts on that.
Sobre a lei de causa e efeito. Se alguém tem um trauma nessa vida e ele trabalhar a causa desse trauma nessa vida, isso vai ajudar a trabalhar a causa de um trauma de uma vida passada?
Quando você questiona a causa do trauma, ele vai lá no ponto causal. Às vezes o que está aqui nessa vida é efeito ainda. A causa pode estar lá atrás e você vai trazer do ponto causal mesmo, original.
When you ask for the cause, the root cause of a trauma, even a trauma for this life here, the root cause may have been even on another life. So you are work on the root cause, the true root cause. And if the true root cause with not in this life, it's in another life, you work on that.
Aqui pode ser efeito.
Because here, this lifetime here, trauma and thing that you are experiencing may be just effect, just repeating itself.
Loop. Fica
in a loop. In an eternal loop.
De uma encarnação para outra.
To one incarnation to another. Like a pattern.
Por isso que tem que trazer do lado passado para cá para quebrar o loop, quebrar o fractal.
To break this loop, this fractal of repetition.
Para subir.
That's the reason you have to go to the root cause and bring it to the present and work on it, understand it, transmute it, so you change levels.
Isso.
You raise your frequency and you get out of this cause and effect.
Aí para.
Repetition.
Sai dessa linha de vibração e muda o destino.
Line, you get out of this tune of vibration and you rise up above, and then you change your destiny because that other line of frequency and history cease to exist. You change your destiny.
Isso.
I love it. It reminds me of the movie Butterfly Effect. I don't know if you ever seen that movie before, Butterfly Effect, in which the Ashton Kutcher would go back in time to different moments in his life and he would change it and alter the reality. So then what happened in his present life would some type of event was shift from him going back and shifting it. So energetically reminds me of that type of situation. If you do the healing work, the root cause in this moment, energetically, those moments no longer exist in the way that it existed up to this moment now. And now I have another curious question. So doing the healing work and you transmute it, what does it mean to Cátia when somebody does their healing work and they're moving forward in their life, but then recycled thought patterns start to show up from that state of being in the traumatic state, but you're no longer in that state. But when it shows up again, what does that mean? would love to hear Catia's interpretation of what does it mean if you've done your healing work and then those recycled thoughts continue to show up again.
O que acontece se você fizer o trabalho de cura, ir lá na fonte, transmutar, mas aí depois esses pensamentos repetitivos, esse ciclo voltar?
Não volta. Quando está no ponto causal, que é a limpeza de DNA, não volta.
If you truly achieve the root cause and work on it, it doesn't come back.
DNA.
Because it was cleaned on the DNA level.
Sim. A gente caiu aqui tudo misturado com DNA. Está nesse nível de limpeza de DNA.
We fell on this planet with all our DNA messed up. So we have to
para limpar o DNA.
To have our healing at the DNA level. Because when you reach the DNA level healing, it doesn't come back.
É o que ele quer.
And that's what you want.
É o que ele quer.
That's right. That's right. We don't want it to come back. So this is profound, that being able to do this healing will affect you essentially forever.
Se conseguir fazer uma cura dessa, vai te afetar para sempre.
Com certeza, com certeza. A mudança não tem volta.
Yes, of course. It doesn't come back, never again.
A consciência começa a ficar contínua.
Your consciousness
até de uma vida para outra.
Started to be like on a continuous. You don't forget who
Quem
you
mais
are.
Você
you are. Even from one life to another. You start to have all your memories.
Porque é a reconexão com o seu eu atemporal,
Because you reconnect with your timeless self.
Para sair da Matrix.
And you leave the matrix.
De manipulações.
Of manipulations and the eternal loop of cause and effect.
De escravos
karma,
aqui, né?
will,
do sistema, escravos do sistema.
And like being slave of the system, of this planet and everything.
I'm curious, at what point in someone's life would you recommend that they read your book or seek out this guidance? Like, what could a person be going through where I would say, oh, wow, this is the perfect opportunity to direct them to your material?
Qual a melhor época para alguém ler o seu livro? Uma coisa do momento da vida que ela estiver passando?
Não. Agora?
Now.
Agora.
Now.
So is it for someone that's in crisis or just anyone at any time?
Qualquer qualquer hora.
Qualquer hora. Com certeza. Com certeza.
Yes, of course. Anyone,
é para reconectar com a alma.
For you to reconnect with your true self, with your soul.
É agora.
Now it's the moment. Fala mais alguma coisa.
Ué, eles têm que perguntar, né? Tem tanta coisa para falar que eu nem sei por onde começar.
Yes, that's it.
I have another question. So, with this work, aligning with that part of you again, the timeless version of yourself, in which, in the human realm, the human stuff that we are experiencing no longer is no longer existing in that space. So, let's say someone who is dealing with a current physical ailment, body pain, or whatever they're dealing with in this moment right now. Would doing this type of work allow them to actually get to the root of that, to allow a transmutation to happen in regards to that?
Se alguém estiver passando por um problema físico agora, o trabalho com isso vai conseguir a pessoa curar uma doença física,
Sim.
saber a causa da doença
Sim,
física?
sim. Tudo começa no campo energético. O físico é o último processo, é efeito.
Yes, everything starts on the energetic field. The physical body, it's just the effect.
E aí você questiona a causa quando você descobre a causa, você traz para o presente e aí isso vai afetar o seu corpo físico também, porque todos os corpos estão interligados.
And all bodies are intertwined. So when you question the root cause of the illness, bring it to the present and work on it, it will also affect your physical body. But the physical body, it's the last one.
Nesse tempo daqui, né?
In this time here.
Mas na medida em que a gente vai processando todos os pontos causais, os tempos vão se tornando um só.
But as we are like working on every causal point, all times became to merge, and
E o processo fica mais rápido.
the process is more fast, and you reach the now.
Sim, mas são tempos diferentes para pessoas diferentes. Cada um vem com uma história,
But
né?
for each person, it's different because each one has his own history, came from his own place, and etc.
Porque, olha, o mesmo problema físico, a causa é diferente para cada um.
Two persons having the same physical problem, the cause of each problem is different, can be completely different.
Cada um uma história.
Each one has his own history. But just knowing why is this happening is already a big step up to start with.
Tem que questionar a causa.
You have to question why it is
Tem
happening.
método.
What's the cause?
Isso. Esse método está interligado com todas as leis que regem o universo.
And it's a method for that. And this method is
interligado, né?
intertwined with all the laws that govern the universe.
Porque todas as leis estão dentro e fora
Because
de nós.
every laws are inside and outside of us. The mechanism is the same.
Isso. E quando você questiona, muitas vezes as respostas vêm nos sonhos.
Often your answers came through dreams.
Porque nesse nível, os sonhos, eles caminham entre os tempos, né? O eu atemporal, ele vai no passado,
Because
vai no futuro.
your timeless self, it walks through the space-time. There's no space-time limits. And when you are dreaming, you are on this level. You can go to past, present, future.
Aí vai anotando os sonhos.
So you have to remember, try to remember and write down your dreams.
E vai questionando.
And question, write down, do
Aos
your
pouquinhos.
specific programming. I want to know that, I want to know that.
Aí aos pouquinhos você vai entendendo
And
as
little by
mensagens
little,
dos sonhos.
You will
Do eu
start to
atemporal.
understand your timeless self message
Do eu
through
atemporal.
your dreams from your higher selves.
Cada vez você vai entendendo mais essa leitura do eu atemporal para você. Essa mensagem, né? Esse entendimento não é mental, tem que ter prática.
This is not a mental process.
Tem que ter prática.
You have to practice.
É como uma academia que você entra, não pode só olhar para os...
It's like a gym. You go to work out. If you just look
só
at
olhar.
them, nothing will happen.
Tem que fazer. É exercício diário.
Work out.
É como aprender uma outra
daily
linguagem.
Exercise, like learning how to another language.
Isso. A linguagem do espírito, né?
The spiritual language.
Para você.
For yourself.
E aí, é isso. Mais pergunta? Como fala em question?
It all sounds very, very straightforward. That you're giving people a gift here of the information that you were able to receive and the way that you've been living your life, and that they can use this at any time in their lives. That's really amazing.
Ela falou que é muito legal isso. Você está dando um presente para as pessoas.
O presente primeiro foi para mim, né?
The gift at first was
isso.
for me.
Eu vivo assim.
I live that.
E aí?
And then I'm spreading the message.
Para o mundo, para a gente, para o planeta vibrar em outra sintonia, né? Quanto mais gente conhecer, melhor.
For all the planets raise frequency, which more people are aware and raise their frequency, it's better for everybody.
Aí essa dissolve essa matrix.
And we can finally dissolve this matrix we live in.
Amazing. So, in regards to changing the frequencies and doing this work for yourself to be a gift to others, let's say someone isn't in the capacity to actually do this work themselves. Is there anything that we can do to send some energy their way to help them to shift their frequency? Because I love what you mentioned about going to the dream world and doing that work. Are you able to go into the dream world and do some work for someone you know that may be incapacitated for actually doing the work themselves?
Tem como você, alguém que é incapacitado de fazer isso por ele próprio, você mandar alguma energia ou fazer algum trabalho para essa pessoa?
Sim.
Ou quando você estiver sonhando, trabalhar por outra pessoa?
Sim, mas primeiro faz por você.
Yes, but first of all, you have to do for yourself.
Sim, e entender o método.
And understand how it works.
Aí tudo que fizer por ele, pode fazer pelo outro.
Then you can do for others.
Sim, com certeza.
Of course, yes.
Sim. Pessoas às vezes incapacitadas, você pode fazer sim. Às vezes até pessoas que já desencarnaram precisam de ajuda, você também pode ajudar, como eu já ajudei.
Yes, even for people that are already dead, for disembodied, you can do for them, because I have done for these people.
Is Catia open to sharing a story? I would love to hear one of these amazing stories of helping someone else to be able to experience this.
Ele quer que você conte uma história de alguém que você já ajudou. Uma história legal, interessante.
Pode ser uma minha e uma daquela moça lá de Piuma.
Tá.
Pode falar.
Okay, I'll tell
histórias.
2 stories. One of myself and one of
essa do hospital agora.
A woman.
Lá em Piuma, quando eu fui morar lá. Pode contar o que você quiser primeiro.
Não, você conta.
Tá. Então, uma moça veio até mim que tinha pânico.
Sometime
moça nova.
A young lady came to me and she was experiencing panic attacks.
Ela, quando tinha pânico, ela ia para o banheiro.
Panic syndrome. And when she had this panic, she always went to the bathroom.
Sim, ficava lá horas e horas.
And she stayed there hours and hours locked on the bathroom.
Isso foi no começo do trabalho, quando eu comecei a desenvolver o trabalho.
It was at the beginning of my develop of this work that it happened.
Sim. Aí eu comecei a trabalhar com ela a leitura dos sonhos dela, buscando a causa disso.
So I started to work with her, seeking for the cause of that on her dreams.
Sim.
And looking for her dreams.
Aí, depois de uns 4 meses, ela veio para eu ajudar ela a interpretar um sonho.
Then 4 months later, she came to me, asking for me to help her interpret a dream.
Aí ela viu uma moça, ela viu uma criança de 12 anos, mais ou menos.
She saw
sonho.
On the dream a child with 12 years old, more or less.
Deitada numa cama.
Laid on a bed.
E quem cuidava dela era o pai, porque ela não mexia as pernas.
She was incapable of moving her legs and her father was taking care of her.
Sim. Aí, quando ela via os símbolos, o sonho ampliava mais.
And this lady looking for the symbols, she could
vinha mais a lembrança.
Get some more memories from the dream.
Sim.
And remember more about the dreams.
Sim. Aí ela teve um momento em que ela estava muito triste porque o pai morreu. E o pai que cuidava dela.
This girl on her dream was very sad because her father that was taking care of her passed out.
Aí tinha uma mulher que cuidava dela, mas a mulher não gostava dela e só ia até ela na cama uma vez por dia.
And there was some lady that took care of these children, but didn't like her and just came to the room once a day.
Para levar no banheiro, para tomar banho e fazer as necessidades.
Take her to the bathroom to take shower and have her necessities.
Então, ela tinha medo, ela ficava ansiosa e tinha medo de toda aquela situação.
So she was scared and anxious of all that situation.
E aí ela se matou. Ela se cortou e se matou.
Then these children committed suicide.
Então eu perguntei à moça.
So I asked the woman that came to me.
Quem é essa garota?
Who's this girl?
Aí ela falou, não sei.
And she said, I don't know.
Aí eu disse, olha nos olhos dela.
And I said, look through her eyes.
Aí ela deu um grito, levantou da cadeira e falou, eu não acredito nisso.
And then she screamed, get out of the chair and said, I don't believe that.
Porque ela era de uma religião. Que não acreditava em vidas passadas.
Because she was from a religion that didn't believe in past lives.
Aí eu peguei na mão dela e falei, acredita em Deus e vamos trabalhar a sua cura.
And I took her hand and said, believe in God, we will work on your healing.
É porque ela viu que era ela ali.
Because she realized that it was she on that dream.
Aí eu trabalhei com ela a criança que se matou.
Then I work with her the child that committed suicide.
Então, ela aqui e a criança dela aqui.
So she bring her child for this present moment.
E ajudei a ela a conversar com a criança.
And I help her to talk to the children.
E se perdoar, e a criança se perdoar por ter feito aquilo com ela mesma.
For the children to forgive herself for doing that.
E entender que toda aquela situação aconteceu, mas ela tinha que se perdoar.
And to understand that all that situation happened, but she had to forgive herself.
Quando a criança entendeu tudo que aconteceu e se perdoou e confiou nela,
when the child understood all that happened and forgive herself and have confidence on her,
Aí essa energia da criança voltou para ela.
Then energy from this child came back to her.
E a partir daí ela não teve mais pânico.
And then after that, she have never more panic attacks.
E o pânico era justamente no banheiro, né?
Because the panic was
quando ela tinha nessa vida.
In this life, the panic was in the bathroom. Like it's related to this
tinha conexão
past life story. It was connected, interconnected. So she worked on the root cause of something in this life that happened in another life.
E agora o destino dela mudou, porque acabou o pânico.
And then the panic finished, because it was worked on the cause, not on the effect. If it was worked on the effect, it will just mask and block the cause, treat the effect, but the cause will be still there. And maybe it will came back with another things or diseases, or that's why you have to always seek for the cause of everything. E agora outra história sua.
Agora a minha história. Pergunta se ele quer ouvir a minha recente.
So, do you wanna hear my recent story?
Yes.
Yes.
Bem, esse planeta é manipulado por seres. Esse planeta é manipulado por seres que trabalham com toda esse universo de uma forma e proveito próprio, né?
So, this planet, Earth, is manipulated by beings
eles usam as leis e proveito próprio.
Use all the laws for their own benefit. They manipulate with the laws.
Então, tudo que essa lei essa lei do karma que eles que inventaram, e os humanos estão sempre mal com essa lei, nunca transcende.
So this karma law that they invented, it's never good for us, because we are all messed up.
É manipulação.
Because it is manipulated. We pay for their debts.
Bem, o que me aconteceu foi o mês passado, né?
So what happened to me last month?
Eu estava limpando o chão e levei um tombo.
I fell. I was cleaning the house here, the floor, and I felt.
Quebrei o cotovelo.
I broke my arm here.
Está quebrado ainda.
It's already broken.
Mas na hora que eu quebrei, aí você sabe contar. Você estava aqui?
Não, você fala.
Na hora que eu quebrei, eu não senti dor nenhuma, fiquei segurando.
But I didn't felt any pain. Just I was like holding my arm.
E aí o meu filho quis me levar no hospital para tirar um raio-x. Eu não queria ir porque eu não estava sentindo dor.
I didn't want to go to the hospital because I wasn't feeling pain, but my son, I convinced her, let's go to the hospital.
Chegando lá, eles falaram que eu tinha que ficar internada para operar.
So when we went there, they said, you have to be here for surgery.
Sim, era hospital público, eu fiquei lá uns 5 dias.
So I was there for a week. It was a public hospital.
Aí ficar na fila.
Because you have to be there to don't lose your place in line. You have to wait there. If you go home, you lose your place.
Então, no dia que falaram assim, no dia seguinte você vai operar. Eu parei de comer e de beber água.
So the day of the surgery, they said, tomorrow you go to surgery. So I stopped eating and drink water.
Mas aí, no dia seguinte, toda hora eles falaram, daqui a pouco. E foi o dia inteiro assim.
The last day, all day long, they was saying, oh, it's right.
Daqui
It's
a
almost
pouco a
there.
gente
It's
vem te
almost
pegar.
there. We are going to take you. It's almost there, but it took all day long.
Mas por quê? Porque no hospital público, se chegar alguém pior que eu, né? Passa na frente.
Because on public hospitals, if someone's it's more urgent, they go first. So they was delaying her.
Aí eu fiquei o dia inteiro assim, comecei a ficar ansiosa.
So she started to be a lot very anxious.
Mas toda hora que eles falaram, você vai operar daqui a pouco, eu não conseguia sentir encaixe
But
nisso.
every time they said, "You almost there," I never felt like it was something
Encaixe.
doesn't
Não tinha sentido.
doesn't have some it wasn't something wasn't right.
Aí no
On my
final do
feelings.
dia falaram, você não vai mais operar hoje.
So at the end of the day, they said, you are not going to go to surgery today.
Aí eu me deu aquela ansiedade, aquele sentimento que eu estava sentindo, me deu vontade de chorar. Eu chorei pouquinho.
So
segundo.
All that feeling came out and I cried just a little bit, a second.
Mas aí eu senti muito forte dentro de mim que eu não precisava mais operar.
But then I felt very, very strong from the deep of my soul that I didn't want to do this.
Em momento nenhum eu tomei remédio para dor, não sinto dor.
In any moment I took any medicine for pain. I didn't feel any pain and I'm not feeling pain.
Aí no dia seguinte eu voltei para casa.
The next day I leave. I just get out.
Foi no dia 16 de junho, dia do meu aniversário.
It was on the June 16, the day of my birthday.
Né? Na noite que eu cheguei, eu sonhei que com a minha morte, que estava programada para eu morrer lá.
And that the day that I came home, the dream that I had that day, I saw that it was programming that I would die there on the surgery room.
E aí eu me lembrei que 2 dias antes de cair, eu sonhei que saía do hospital. E ia processar minha cura.
So I remember that 2 days before of my felt, I dreamed that I was leaving the hospital and saying, I will process my own healing.
Minha cura. Isso significa, no meu entender, tudo isso que me aconteceu, eu senti como se eu tivesse saído da programação.
All that happened, at my understanding, I felt that I leave the programming.
Da programação draconiana.
The draconian programming for my death.
Entendeu?
So it was all about intuition and feeling and be connected with your higher selves. It's not a mental thing. If it was only mental, I would do the surgery. But I felt that I shouldn't. And I just didn't.
Eu fiz até uma live lá no hospital.
And
tá no meu...
I also, there was a live program for those days, and I did it from the hospital. It's on my YouTube channel.
Yes, sim. E não sinto dor. E o braço tá voltando aos pouquinhos.
My arm is coming back little by little. I don't feel any pain. But it's all about you follow your intuition. But the intuition, it's from the deeps of your soul. So you feel that what is right. You don't have doubt. You know.
E o fato de não ter sentido dor é porque já estava tudo sendo trabalhado em outros níveis.
And because everything was already being worked on other levels, that I didn't feel and don't feel pain. That was another story.
Sim.
That's a really amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing the miracles that are possible with your method.
Obrigado por compartilhar os milagres que são possíveis com o seu método.
Não é milagre, não. É entendimento. Não existe milagre.
Thank you, but there's no miracle in the universe. It's understanding of the laws. You have to know how to work with the laws. Don't break the laws because you can't, but how to work with them.
Got it. That's a great message for everyone who's listening. That these things are possible, especially with working with the laws and the way that you understand them. And here's another way to understand them: www.fellowshipoftherunes.com. Thank you both so much for being here. This
Obrigada.
was amazing, Bim. Obrigado.
Thank you.
And we look forward to continuing the conversation. Please feel free to join our community and be here. There are tons of people who are just waiting to experience the ways that they can work with the universe, and you have discovered quite an amazing way to do so.
O que ela falou?
Muito obrigado, e queria que vocês continuassem junto com a gente, na nossa comunidade. Tem muitas formas de descobrir o universo, você descobriu uma forma muito legal e tudo mais.
Obrigada.
Você quer dar o livro para ela?
Obrigada. Sim.
Thank you, and we will give to you with the access of you both with access to her book. It's online version. It's on her website, so it's a gift for you.
Mandar um e-mail.
Você fala depois.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
E depois eu quero retorno deles para, né?
And after I want a feedback from you.
Se estão fazendo o dever de casa certo.
And I will check if you are doing your homework.
That's great. That's really great. Okay, for everyone who is watching, thank you so much for being here and for contributing with your energy and your presence and your questions and your greetings. We see you all, and we will see you next week. Stay magical.
You've been listening to our Daily Magic Podcast with Cátia and Dell. Please like, subscribe, and tune in next week for another magical episode. Visit www.ourdailymagic.com for more. Thank you for listening and have a magical